Okay, welcome to the Sunday pre-market meeting, everyone. I hope you're well. Hope you've all had a good weekend so far, and I hope you had a profitable week last week. So there's a few things to go over this week. Not this week, in this webinar. Nothing too complex, nothing too crazy, but we're going to start out by taking a very, very quick look at some bank reports. They're a little bit old. So this one's from the 25th of March. This one's from the 27th of March. So a little bit outdated, but what I'm going to show you is still completely relevant. So this one that you're looking at over here, this is one by Goldman Sachs. So if we just zoom in here, we've got all of these different targets or forecasts, basically for different currencies, different assets, commodities, all sorts of different things over the next sort of 12 months into 2027. So feel free to screenshot this if you wish. So as we can see, gold, last price day registered was 44. In 3 months, we're expecting gold to be at 4,800, and in 12 months, we're expecting gold to be at 5,400. We're seeing the same thing over here with Credit Agricole on there. Let me just scroll down all the way at the bottom. Over here, one up. Yes, over here. So let me go to the sidebar. Yes, so over here we've got gold, and then the timelines are at the top over here. So I'm not sure I can fit it all. There we go. Yes. So by the end of 2026, we're expecting, Credit Agricole are expecting gold to be around 5,100. So these are not necessarily optimistic targets, which is obviously what we're seeing from the institutions. We're not seeing these targets like what we saw previously when gold was around 2,000. Institutions were projecting 3,000, then 4,000, 5,000. And earlier this year, we were seeing institutions forecasting gold around 6,000, 6,500 by the end of the year. These targets have been dramatically decreased, which is interesting, obviously, given the current situation we're in. So we'll may as well go straight to gold off that, and we'll make our way through. So these are their forecasts that I've marked up on the chart, as you can see. So relative to obviously previous price action, previous levels, volatility, momentum that we've been seeing in gold over the past couple of years, which obviously just this rocket to the upside, these targets are very modest. Bearing in mind, these are sort of December into 2027 targets. This is a long period of time they're expecting. So that's kind of giving me a little bit of a bad feeling about gold. So from a technical aspect, what we can see is actually we've got a really nice technical setup to go short on a daily time frame. Now, I want to clarify, I'm not going to be taking this position. I'm showing this purely because it might be interesting to some of you. Some people might like it. I don't really want to short gold, mainly just because obviously we'll be fighting such a strong aggressive trend. But back to the technicals, we have obviously seen a rejection off our 200 daily moving average, very quick to the upside, then a rejection off our 50 daily moving average. Regardless of where you draw the fib in this situation, it's a rejection. So either here we came up to the 61.8 level, or if you extend it to what some people may call the real high, doesn't really matter. This one is a 50% rejection, and we've also got this previous structure. So it's looking very much like a break retest for a continuation to the downside. So to back this up, we don't have too much, which is another reason I'm not in massive favor of being short on gold. But if we do take a very quick look at the fundamentals, which are right here, we're seeing a little bit of a negative score of -3. Nothing overwhelming, nothing that's screaming sell gold now. But on top of yields, global or developed market central banks on hold or hiking, it's not looking too bright, as well as obviously the economic data. And then we look at the COT history. So this is basically just showing the current and previous positioning on the COT reports. We see they're actually, smart money are actually decreasing their long positions, and they have been actually for a little while. Seems to be on a bit of a downtrend here. So I am slightly more in favor of being short on gold rather than being long. But again, not for me. It's not something I'm going to be taking, but I did want to point it out for some of you. So just to quickly touch on open positions, we are currently long on the Aussie New Zealand. I called this one last week for members, also on the Edge Finders top setup. So we're completely aligned actually at the moment, which is really, really nice. So Aussie New Zealand's getting a bullish score of +12. So going forwards from here, I'm looking to basically just scale in. So fib from the low to wherever the next high is printed. I'd be happy to add in a second position here. We've already reduced our stops by about 30%. So we've got roughly 0.7% risk on the line at the moment on this position. So I think a scale in is completely valid, and the fundamentals are still there. The trend has held up, so everything is looking fine. I can't show these three, which is Eurodollar, the Nikkei, and Pound Aussie, just because they're too close to entry. Obviously, signals are paid for, so I'm not going to leak those. The next one is Dollar Swiss. We are currently long on this fib level, which was quite nice. Very simple. Obviously, identify the trend, pull back into fib value zone, close back above with a nice bullish candle. We executed long and let this one run. In terms of management or adding in, I really like the trade fundamentally, but in terms of adding in, it's a little bit too close to entry. Nothing's really happened yet to warrant scaling in. But if you're not already in Dollar Swiss, I think if you could find an entry, it's still a fantastic trade. And the New Zealand yen, which unfortunately I'm not in, but we did call this one. Not a huge R&R on this one, just 1 to 1.5, but it is moving very, very nicely so far. And we are actually risk-free on this one as well. Okay. So moving on to trade ideas for next week, or actually, sorry, this week, we have dollar yen. Now, this one I'm a little bit hesitant with because we are approaching 160 very, very quickly, which is starting to get into this previous all-time high. I personally think I've missed this idea, which is unfortunate to say, but it is what it is. Dollar yen, in fact, a lot of the yen pairs across the board, the technical behavior or the price development, whatever you want to call it, typically isn't super clean, especially for the way I trade, which is obviously looking for trends and then measuring the pullbacks with the fib. Very straightforward. Dollar yen, euro yen, pound yen, they don't seem to give these types of setups very often, so I've just not been able to get into it. Fundamentally, dollar yen is still a great buy for fundamentally with a score of 9 and a very bullish reading. Obviously, we've got a nice bullish trend on pretty much every time frame. So when it comes to looking for an entry, very simple, fib from low to high, look for this 50% retracement and then look to enter long. The downside to this, which is another sort of, I don't know what the word is, maybe a little bit of a red flag, if you will, is sort of the short-term price development here. We've got lower highs being printed. So buying into this, not exactly great, but it could be an idea. But then you've got to obviously start navigating the ideas of an intervention by the MOF. Now, I've been very vocal about my opinions on that. I don't think we're going to get an intervention by the MOF until we start creating new all-time highs. I'd be extremely surprised if dollar yen hits 161 or exactly this previous all-time high, let's say 161.7, and then we get this intervention to obviously bolster the yen. I just don't think that's happening. It would be way too obvious. Bearing in mind, we do get these interventions during low liquidity periods. So that'd be things like bank holidays, summer periods, whatever it may be. It's mainly when US traders when US traders are away from their desks. So if we don't get to pull back here, I'm not looking for the trade because it's getting a little bit too close to this all-time high. But I think, again, fundamentally, it's still a great trade. So if you can find a way in, I would be quite supportive of that idea. Next up, we have crude oil. I think oil has been on everyone's, at least on their radar, if not on their watch lists. So I don't think I need to explain this one too heavily. We should all be fully aware of the situation in the Middle East by now. The only other thing I want to point out is this post by Trump on Truth Social that came out 4 hours ago. So on Tuesday, Tuesday will be a power plant day and bridge day all wrapped up in one in Iran. There'll be nothing like it. Open the fucking strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah, President Donald J. Trump. So we've obviously seen this back and forth. We've seen a lot of Trump making threats towards Iran. We've obviously seen Iran also making threats to the US. So I don't think we are going to be getting any de-escalations unless Iran's for some reason turn around to say we've had enough. We don't want to do it anymore, and we'll do a ceasefire. I don't think that will happen. I think if that was going to be the case where one of the sides would back down, it would have happened by now. So I do think oil is still a good buy. We're also seeing that reflected in the fundamentals. Where is oil? Over here. So oil is getting a bullish reading of +7. So again, fundamentally and from a geopolitical side, oil is still a great buy position. So I'm not very comfortable buying at this price, but if the setup comes and the fundamentals are valid, everything's valid, I'm not going to stay away from it just because it's high. I think that's a little bit silly. I am a little bit cautious. It does look like we've got a little bit of imbalance in this market over the past I say over the past couple of hours. I mean towards market close, obviously. So I would be looking for either a pullback into this 50% retracement level and then a rejection to continue higher, or I'd be looking for a complete correction of this little bit here, this sort of support level, and then if we can see a rejection from there, I'd be looking to buy. Very straightforward. The reason I prefer the fib is, first of all, because it's the fib, but also it lines up with previous structure, so this would also form a pretty nice break and retest. Whether that happens, I don't know. We could end up with a situation where we gap higher on the open and just continue to run higher, maybe, but it's something to keep an eye on. I think oil could still be a very nice money printer. Again, it's just a case of, when do you actually want to get in and what price are you happy with? So moving forwards, this one is a little bit on the contrarian view slightly. So the reason I'm saying it's contrarian view is because it's not really accounting for the current geopolitical situation. This is more of just a fundamental view. So again, it's not something I'm super happy with, just because we are seeing this risk sentiment in the markets, risk off sentiment in the markets. We've obviously got this short-term bearish trend on the H4. So it's not super ideal. We're also seeing a rejection of this level of resistance right here. But on the bright side, we are seeing the Dow get a very bullish reading of +9. So obviously the fundamentals are in line with that. And we have seen on the previous COT release, institutions have been buying into the equity indices markets. Obviously, we've got the NASDAQ, the Dow, the S&P, and the Russell have all seen inflows. So there is an idea that maybe if we can find some sort of way into this market, it could be quite a nice long position, because if we look at this applies to things like the S&P and the NASDAQ as well. So you can basically copy and paste the analysis. This is obviously, if we do get this reversal here, this would be a very nice sort of discounted area to look to buy, because these types of dips in the indices markets aren't super frequent. We do get them, obviously, but if you can leverage your way into these types of dips and somehow get into one solid position or even multiple smaller positions, it can pay off massively long term. So what I would be looking for here to validate a long position would be, first of all, a break above this level of resistance. It would just show, obviously, buyers have got more control, they've taken over from sellers, just from a technical aspect. So the break would be sort of step 1, retest would be step 2, continuation would be step 3. Beyond that, I would need to see this H4 trend change bullish. I cannot buy into a bearish trend. It's one of my rules. So we do have a few criteria for this market to meet in order for it to be a valid buy position, but I think we are on the way there. We've already held above this 50 moving average, so it's really just this 200, and then we could maybe look to be long. Next up, we have Pound New Zealand. So this one is great, but I think we may have actually missed this one in hindsight. So we are seeing Pound New Zealand get a very strong score. I think it might be the top score. Yes, it is. So top score here, +14, which I think is one of the highest readings you can get on the Edge Finder, with obviously a very bullish bias. So fundamentally, we obviously want to be aligned to the long side. The daily time frame obviously was in this bullish trend here, flipped bearish very briefly, and now the trend is now flipped back bullish. So technically and fundamentally, we do want to be buyers. But the thing is, when I wanted to be a buyer back down here, I didn't have an entry, so I couldn't go in. It was obviously still a bearish trend at that point as well. I was wanting to see this left side get corrected, which we've kind of seen now. That's almost fully happened. I mean, we've still got a little bit of space up here, but obviously I'm not going to look to trade that. That's ridiculous. So I do really like it. And if we can get some sort of pullback, whether it be just to the H4 on the 4-hour move, just to the 200 moving average on the H4, getting my words mixed up, or whether we do get a full daily retracement back into this fib zone, it doesn't matter. I'd be looking to be a buyer. If we don't get that and we do continue higher, the trade is going to be scrapped because there is just no way in, or we've missed it and the move's already happened. We've already covered gold, so we've got our final two markets, which is New Zealand US dollar and Euro Australian. So New Zealand US dollar has been on a fantastic run to the downside, just like many of the other dollar pairs. So the US dollar dominance is very clearly still in play. We've we've still got the New Zealand US dollar reading bearish on the Edge Finder as well. If I can scroll here we go. Very bearish, -13. So a very, very strong bearish reading. We've obviously, again, still got a very bearish trend as well. And we've got the daily time frame where the moving averages have just crossed. So everything, all the stars pretty much are aligned for us to be short sellers, but it's just a case of waiting for some sort of entry. So assuming, and this is obviously a big assumption, that this is the low, we'd be looking for a retracement back into this fib zone and then just a very simple continuation lower. The only caveat here is obviously we could get the market open, it could gap lower, it could just continue to run lower overnight. So the fib will obviously move based on however the market moves. So with that in mind, I would really want to see something like this. So if this market could continue to run down to this level, then retrace into here, and then we could start positioning shorts. And the reason I like this level a little bit more is just because we've got previous structure. So this would give us a fantastic break of support, retest, and continuation lower within the fib zone. So again, very simple, super straightforward, but that is the plan. Finally, we have the Euro Aussie. So this one I've got mixed feelings about because we were very short on, very long on the Australian dollar. So we expressed that through a pound Aussie short earlier this year. So if I think it might be in February period, we caught a fantastic trade on that one. However, since that time, we've had a bit of a change in market dynamics. So we've had the RBA at that time was the most hawkish central bank out of the developed markets. We've obviously now seen that change with elevated oil prices, inflation expectations being pushed higher, central banks going on hold or even hiking. So the dynamic that we did have during this period, where it was essentially just buy the Australian dollar, simple, there was nothing else to do, we now have a little bit more options. So I think what we've had, in my opinion, is a little bit of a mean reversion. So at this point, during this move to the downside, we obviously got very extended. It was very crowded. It was a very busy trade. Everyone was looking at this. We've then seen a little bit of a bottom. This was basically when we saw things really picking up with the Middle East and oil and inflation and all that narrative really playing out. We saw a bit of a correction here. We're now seeing this rejection around our 50% retracement level on a daily time frame. So I think being a short seller is valid. Now, this would also, for me and for my members, it would also offset our GBP/AUD long position. The daily trend is still bearish. The technicals look fine. We've obviously whipped to the upside multiple times, failed to hold any higher or push any higher, and seen rejection to the downside. We've also got the Euro Aussie here, reading bearish with a -6 score. So this could be quite a nice idea to be on a short side. So again, for me, it would be quite a nice hedge, but also quite a nice fundamental play. So I quite like that one. We do get silver with a bearish reading. I've got absolutely no interest in being short silver. Pound dollar, we're also getting a bearish reading, but I'm already short on the euro dollar. So obviously no interest in being short pound dollar at the same time. The euro yen and the Aussie US dollar are also getting short readings. So the Aussie US dollar, I actually do quite like, and I forgot to really add this. So it's kind of the same dynamic we've had. So with the Aussie US dollar, we obviously had, as I've already mentioned, a very hawkish RBA. At this time when we saw this rally, it was the most hawkish. We had the Fed leaning dovish, not obviously on a super rate cutting cycle, but we did have a more hawkish Fed at this time. A more dovish Fed at this time. Now that's changed. We're obviously seeing US dollar dominance. We've seen the RBA rate hikes getting priced in, and that's kind of done. That narrative's not really a massive player at the moment. So what we're seeing on the Aussie US dollar right now is very, very nice technical. So unfortunately, the daily is still bullish, but what we've got is a really nice break of support or break of previous support, retest into a 50% retracement and our 50 daily moving average, and a really nice rejection to the downside. So I wouldn't mind getting short on this, looking for a correction of this left side over here. I think that's a really simple, clean idea. The H4 is looking a little bit more optimistic. We obviously have developed a bearish trend on the H4. So I think actually Aussie US dollar is one of, if not my favorite idea right now. So I think that's going to be sort of priority going into this week. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it from me today. I've just realized I've not checked the chat, so I'm not sure if anyone said anything. Trump will chicken out again. That is another aspect, actually, Sluggy. Yes, I think investors are losing a little bit of optimism, not optimism, a little bit of confidence on what Trump says. It's not really a case of, oh, the president of the United States said this, that's going to be the case, we need to trade it. It's a case of, oh, Trump said something, is it going to follow through? Is it going to get reversed? Is it real? So yes, a little bit of a strange dynamic that we're in. Anyway, guys, just before we head off, I do just want to mention, if you are looking for education in trading, whether it be swing, macros, everything, I do have a mentorship. I've just dropped the link in the chat. You can apply. So yeah, fantastic. We've had brilliant results in the mentorship. We've got very, very happy students in there. So guys, make sure you apply for that if you are interested. I'll see you all later. Have a fantastic week and enjoy the rest of your Sundays.